Mm. No, we have to wait till it goes. Does it round and round, but they can see us. Hmm? Come on. There we are.
Hello, this is George.
And Bonnie.
Yeah. And this is Adonai's Sanctuary Truth Classroom. It's October? No. Yeah.
Yes.
Still October, right?
Yes, it's the 29th.
29th.
Wow.
Now, for anybody who's coming in watching us, listening to us, see, we don't really care what religion you are, what denomination you are, anything else. Only thing we try to put out is what our title says, Adonai's Sanctuary Truth. We want truth to come out. Mm-hmm. Now, at times it may seem like it's kind of boring, but at times it gets really exciting when you find something that preachers, priests, or rabbi teachers have been messing up for centuries. Yep. Right?
Amen.
Right, George?
Amen.
He's old, but he can talk.
You have nothing to do with age.
Okay. And we're doing 23 tonight and 24. We're going over them. And my sweetie's going to read Numbers 23, 1 through 6.
Bilam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here and prepare me 7 bulls and 7 rams here." Balak did as Bilam said. Then Balak and Bilam offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Bilam said to Balak, "Stand by your burnt offering while I go off. Maybe Adonai will come and meet me, and whatever he shows me I will tell you." He went off to a bare hill. God met Bilam, who said to him, "I prepared the 7 altars and offered a bull and a ram on each altar." Then Adonai put the word in Bilam's mouth and said, "Go back to Balak and speak as I tell you." He went back, and there, standing by his burnt offering, he with all the princes of Moab.
See, she read Bilam, because in the Hebrew Bible that we have, it's B-I-L-A-M. It's not Balaam like in English, but it's the same character, I'm assuming. And we got a message from somebody from Kentucky.
Hey, Ann.
Ann Brown said hi. Well, hello, Ann. Back to 23, 1 through 6. Adonai put words in Bilam's mouth to speak. You go back and say what you are to say. In other words, what he put in his mouth. Read 7, please.
He made his pronouncement. Balak, the king of Moab, brings me from Aram to the eastern hills, saying, "Come curse Jacob for me. Come and denounce Israel."
Balak said, "Denounce Israel. Curse Yaakov," or Jacob. He wanted the victories. He wanted Balaam to do this for him. Read 8, please.
How am I to curse those whom God has not cursed? How am I to denounce those whom Adonai has not denounced?
In other words, number 8 is saying, I can't do that. Now, why can't he do that? Read 9 and 10, please.
From the top of the rocks I see them. From the hills I behold them. Yes, a people that will dwell alone and not think itself one of those nations. Who has counted the dust of Jacob or numbered the ashes of Israel? May I die as the righteous die. May my end be like theirs.
Now think about this. He's saying, Balaam is saying, may I die like the righteous of Israel. May my end be like theirs. I think he thought pretty highly of Israel. With all the nations around them, it states they do not consider themselves one of their nation. Yet, now Balak seems to get a little angry again Read 11 and 12, please.
Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? To curse my enemies is why I brought you. And here you have totally blessed them." He answered, "Mustn't I take care to say just what Adonai puts in my mouth?"
That's 11 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
You blessed them, and I brought you here to curse them. Like I said, I can only say what Adonai puts in my mouth. Balak said, "Let's do this again, over there." Read 13 through 17, please.
Balak said to him, "All right, come with me to another place where you can see them. You will see only some of them, not all, but you can curse them for me from there." He took him through the field of Zophim to the top of the Pisgah Rain, built 7 altars, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Stand here by your burnt offering while I go over there for a meeting." Adonai met Balaam, put a word in his mouth, and said, "Go back to Balak and speak as I tell you." He came to him and stood by the burnt offering with all the princes of Moab. Balak asked him, "What did Adonai say?"
Then Balaam says, read 18.
Then Balaam made his pronouncement. "Get up, Balak, and listen. Turn your ears to me, O son of Zippor."
What did he say? Hey, Balak, you've got to listen. Read 19 and 20, please.
"God is not human who lies, nor a mortal who changes his mind. When he says something, he will do it. When he makes a promise, he will fulfill it. Look, I am ordered to bless when he blesses. I can't reverse it."
Balaam says to Balak, Adonai isn't like me and you. When he says something, he will do it. He told me to bless, so I bless. I can't change what Adonai says to me. Read 21, please.
No one has seen guilt in Jacob or perceived perversity in Israel. Adonai, their God, is with them and acclaimed as king among them.
He states, Adonai is king among those Israelites. Read 22 and 23.
God, who brought them out of Egypt, gives them the strength of a wild ox. Thus one can't put a spell on Jacob, or no magic will work against Israel. It can now be said of Jacob and Israel, what is this that God has done?
In other words, see what Adonai has done? They are as strong as a wild ox. Those Hebrews, we can't use no tricks against them. No tricks will work against them. Read 24, please.
Here is a people rising up like a lioness. Like a lion, he rears himself up. He will not lie down until he eats up the prey and drinks the blood of the slain.
In other words, there is no stopping those Hebrews. They are like a lion who eats his prey. My sweetie's going to read 25.
Balak said to Balaam, obviously you won't curse them, but at least don't bless them.
Okay, you won't curse them, but hey, how about not blessing them either? Maybe that'll help.
Okay.
Getting comical. Read 26, please.
However, Balaam answered Balak, didn't I warn you that I must do everything Adonai says?
I warned you before.
Told you.
That I must do what Adonai says to do. Remembering Balak, that's what I told you. Okay, maybe he needs a different location.
Let's try it again.
Here we go again.
Go
Read
someplace
27, please.
Balak said to Balaam, "Come, I will take you now to another place. Maybe it will please God for you to curse them for me from there."
Maybe you will be able to do what I want you to do, curse those Hebrews over there this time. Read 28 through 30, please.
Balak took Balaam to the top of Por, overlooking the desert. Balaam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here and prepare me 7 bulls and 7 rams." Balak did as Balaam said and offered a bull and a ram on each altar.
Same as before.
Okay. Try this
Build
again.
me 7 altars and then have some sacrifices on them. See why we couldn't stop at 23? Read 24, 1 and 2, please.
When Balaam saw that it pleased Adonai to bless Israel, he didn't go, as the other times, to make use of divination, but looked out toward the desert. 1 and 2.
Please.
Balaam raised his eyes and saw Israel encamped tribe by tribe. Then the Spirit of God came upon him.
This time, Balaam didn't go to meet Adonai for instructions. I think he knew what the instructions were. He just looked out towards the desert. Then Balaam said, 3 and 4, please.
And he made his pronouncement. This is the speech of Balaam, son of Beor, the speech of a man whose eyes have been opened. The speech of him who hears God's words, who sees what Shaddai sees, who has fallen, yet his eyes opened, and yet has his eyes opened.
Now, Ann Brown wrote, exactly what does curse mean? It means not having a blessing from Adonai.
Yep.
That's one way of having a curse. Because if you're not blessed by Adonai, you can have a go along just for the ride, or you can be cursed. And there's many ways of being cursed.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea of all of them. I had you read 3 and 4, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Who sees what the Almighty sees? The one giving this speech isn't perfect, Balaam. He realizes he has, at times, come short, or you might say, has fallen. It has opened his eyes. This is what's interesting. Yet he has opened his eyes to Adonai, realizing that he's just like you and me, well, me anyway. He isn't that good. Yet his eyes are open to Adonai. Now, how many of us would just love to have our eyes open to Adonai?
Amen.
The next 2 verses are what Adonai sees and what he has done. Well, my sweetie's going to read 5 and 6, please.
How lovely are your tents, Jacob, your encampments, Israel. They spread out like valleys, like gardens by the riverside, like succulent aloes planted by Adonai, like cedar trees next to the water.
Now think about all that, what she just read. Read that one more time, please.
How lovely are your tents, Jacob, your encampments, Israel. They spread out like valleys, like gardens by the riverside, like succulent aloes planted by Adonai, like cedar trees next to the water.
Think about that. All that planted by Adonai himself. Whoa. Read 7 and 8, please.
Water will flow from their branches, their seed will have water aplenty. Their king will be higher than Agag, and his kingdom lifted high. God, who brought them out of Egypt, gives them the strength of a wild ox. They will devour the nations opposing them, break their bones, pierce them with their arrows.
Now, there's a little bit of thinking that has to go with this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is what will happen to anyone who goes against those Hebrews. But like we have studied, it's if they continue in Adonai and his truths. Then they will be protected. How many times have we seen it through all of our readings that they have 20 years of bliss, favor, and then they have 30, 40 years of some king or leader or people themselves turning their back on Adonai, and they get the cursing of the land or whatever. Well, that was 50-cent piece thrown in there. It wasn't on my paper. Then that part of Balaam's curse, and who gets Adonai's blessing? That gets Balak really upset. Read 9, please.
When they lie down, they crouch like a lion, or like a lioness, who dares to rouse it. Blessed be all who bless you. Cursed be all who curse you.
Who dares to rouse the Israelites? Bless all who bless them, and it states, curse all who curse them. Then Balak, the guy who's king and has a lot of money, thinks worldly and tries to explain to Balaam the consequences of his actions, you might say. Read 10 and 11, please.
Balak blazed with fury against Balaam. He struck his hands together and said to Balaam, I summoned you to curse my enemies, but here you have done nothing but bless them 3 times already. Now you better escape to your own place. I have planned a reward for you very well, but now Adonai has derived you of payment.
You blessed them 3 times, but I wanted you to curse them. I like the next part myself. Balaam, you can blame Adonai for your not getting your payment. And you know something? How many people do that kind of stuff? Blame, well, nowadays they don't use Adonai. They blame God if something goes wrong. And it's their fault. We'll get into that when we get into the New Covenant or the New Testament. It's kind of interesting how all that comes about. Isn't it, George?
It's interesting, very interesting.
It doesn't seem to upset Balaam all that much. Read 12 and 13, please.
Balaam answered Balak, didn't I tell the messengers you sent me that even if Balak would give me his palace full of silver and gold, I could not of my own accord go beyond the word of Adonai to do either good or bad. That what Adonai said is what I would say.
Remember last week when we says he's made the statement, even if he gives me his palace full of gold, I can only do what Adonai says. Well, he kind of reiterates that right now. Didn't I tell him and you that I would tell you what Adonai says? But the interesting part is, read 14, please.
But now that I'm going back to my own people, come, I will warn you what this people will do to your people in the end of times. That's that word, right?
I am going home. I'm going home now, but first let me tell you what the Hebrews will do to your people in the Hayamim. In other words, the end of days. Or, in this case, the latter days. Read 15 and 16.
So he made his pronouncement. This is the speech of Balaam, son of Beor, the speech of a man whose eyes have been opened, the speech of him who hears God's words, who knows what Elyon knows, who sees what Shaddai sees, who has fallen yet has opened eyes.
See, this part, remember back last week when the donkey stopped the angel from killing Balaam? This part kind of puts a little something on that part. That writing is how much, well, in 15 and 16, what my sweetie just read, that writing is how much Balaam has fallen, sent an angel to kill him. Yet has his eyes open to see what Adonai is saying, to acknowledge what the Most High told him. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen very few preachers that have told people what the Most High have told them. Most of them tell them what their college or their priest or preacher or rabbi or somebody told them what it says. They don't go by the truth. But anyhow, we like how 24:17 starts by using Balaam, a sorcerer. What and who does he talk about? Read 17, please.
I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not soon. A star will step forth from Jacob. A scepter will arise from Israel to crush the corners of Moab and destroy all descendants of Seth.
Now, who does he see? Who is going to see him? Who sees him? And who is he seeing? Here's what I wrote. Was he saying, I see him? Was that Yeshua? But not now. Well, Yeshua doesn't. Well, I talk about that in a few minutes. I honor him, in other words, Yeshua, or maybe David, but not soon. We need to remember that statement was around 1,400 or 300 years, 1,300, 1,400 years ahead of Yeshua walking on this earth. Could that be why it states, but not soon? Because King David was just around the corner, a few hundred years. Then the part that must have really upset Balak, to crush the corners of Moab. Now, why would it upset Balak so much to crush the corners of Moab? He was the king of Moab. And destroy all of Seth's descendants. That's what you read, right? Mm-hmm. In that part of the letter, is it letting the world know that Adam's third son had become so worldly that all his descendants of that son will be destroyed? We believe that one part talks about Yeshua, and the last part that she just read talks about Adam's third son. And even one of those parts may even throw in a little bit about King David. Read 18 and 19, please.
His enemies will be his possessions. Edom and Seir possessions. Israel will do valiantly. From Jacob will come someone who will rule, and he will destroy what is left of this city.
I was putting the cart before the horse a little bit. To us, that sounds like he now talks about what turns out to be King David. Then Balaam seeks out about others, or speaks out about others. Page 3. 24:20, please.
He saw Amalek and made this pronouncement. First among nations was Amalek, but destruction will be its end.
Where have we heard about Amalek and his destruction before? It was foretold in Shemot 17:14, or I'm sorry, Exodus 17:14. Read that, please. Wait a minute. Yeah, read 17:14.
Adonai said to Moses, write this in a book to be remembered and tell it to Joshua. I will completely blot out any memory of Amalek from under heaven.
Again, way back then, it says that was from Adonai to Moses, and he was supposed to have told that to Yahshua, who was going to be the next leader. Now in Numbers, it states again, therefore, their destruction will be their ending. Now my sweetie's going to read 24, 21 through and 22.
He saw the Canaanites, K-E-N-E-N, and made this pronouncement. Though your dwelling is firm, your nest set on rock, Canaan will be wasted while captive in Asher.
The Canaanites will be taken captive by Asher. Listen to Numbers 23 now.
Finally, he made this pronouncement. Oh no, who can live where God does this?
Balaam is telling truth from Adonai. Did he state 23 when he was told the next part? Who can live when Adonai does this? Then he says what should happen. Read 24, please.
But ships will come from the coast of Kittim and subdue Asher and subdue Ever. But they too will come to destruction.
They too will come to destruction. Both those places. And she had a little pronunciation with E-V-E-R. I don't know how they'd have pronounced it. Ever, ever. If Israel stayed the course of Adonai, look what was theirs for the taking. Read 25, please.
Then Balaam got up, left and returned to his home, and Balak too went his way.
Balaam had enough. He saw enough, he spoke enough, he did what he was supposed to do. He got up and went home, and it states Balak also went his way. This next part is so troubling. I even underlined that part. It teaches us how easy it is to relax or compromise our stand for Yeshua and Adonai. That's next week. And listen how the word comes alive next week. That's supposed to be all, but it's not. 2 days ago I sat down, heard from this one lady, and for some reason I wrote this out the next morning. You have to go listen for the whole thing. Israel, from 1375 to 1050, well, that is 325 years of being directed and led by judges. Then came along their first king, Saul. Think about that. I'm studying the book of Judges. What were the judges really like? Noble, honorable men. Well, how about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob? Well, we already went through those guys. Here's what the judges were really like. One was an assassin. One was a sexually driven person who had a number of sexual partners. They even had one judge who didn't have a very good personality, you might say. So when you think of yourself and you see your flaws, if you become a person who submits and yields to Adonai now, even though you're not perfect, Adonai can and will feel, and we feel, may use you. Individuals want to know what Adonai has for them. Everybody who thinks they're a Christian, I use that term very loosely, they search without the clear view of how to find it. Isn't that what we did for decades, or? Most of the time when Adonai's guidance comes to you, it's not something that will fall in your lap out of the sky. No, it's something that you know you want, even though you really have no idea what it is or how to get it. Let me put it this way. If you are working so hard looking for Adonai's guidance, you may be missing the work he really is having for you now. No one knows the next assignment, but don't cut your work short for Adonai, looking for something new. You may be Adonai's perfect guide to someone or a group of people right now. Well, put it this way. Don't miss your assignment looking the wrong way when Adonai calls.
Amen.
Now, I know I have little readings before and afterwards every once in a while, but that seemed to jump off the page. I mean, we're only here for truth. Like we stated in the beginning, we don't care what religion you are or who you are or what you are. We don't lead you, we tell truth. And if you want truth, it's nice to know that you're on here. And it'd be nice to hear comments and let us know that we're doing something besides just sitting here on the table. May you all be watched over by Adonai, and may you be blessed in the name of Yeshua.
Amen.